The next VALORANT agent is almost 3 weeks away from being released, and there's actually a surprising amount of clues we have about who they are and what they'll bring to the game. For example, it seems like our new agent will have sound-based amplifying abilities and potentially be able to heal both allies and enemies, but I'll talk more about that later since I'll be doing this video chronologically and focusing on what we learned first to keep things simple. To make things clear, this agent will probably be revealed at the grand finals of Master Santiago, which is less than 3 weeks away now. Then they should be added to the game in the new act just a few days after that. The new agent's role, based on the release order, is most likely to be a controller, however that is not guaranteed. Part of me does think they could be an initiator, especially considering the recent harbor rework could tide us over and act as a new controller release. Regardless of their role though, we do have a lot to speculate regarding this agent's abilities and what they will be able to do. This player card in the current battle pass is a teaser, for example. Its name, Amplify, can quite literally be taken as the ability to amplify your teammates' abilities. However, beyond that, the codename of this player card is Sonic Alchemy, implying the ability to heal with sound. The alchemy or healing in particular is interesting because in 2 separate recent updates, some strings have been updated in the game files for enemies healed. We know this thanks to this account on Twitter, so credit to them. We obviously only have 2 healers in the game right now, being Sage and Sky, and neither of them have the ability to heal enemies. With that in mind, I'm picturing some sort of ability where you throw or place down a big AoE heal, which is more powerful and maybe heals faster than Sage or Sky, with the downside being that you can miss or potentially even heal enemies if they are in that area of effect. Now beyond that player card and the strings in the files, more recently we got this mini cinematic centered around Sage struggling with her powers. I've already covered this a few times, so to recap it briefly, Sage's powers are starting to take a heavier toll on her physically in the form of these crystals, and this seems to hurt her. In the alternate world of Omega Earth, where Sage has had to do a lot more healing recently, these crystals have completely overtaken her to the point where she has to soak herself in a chem bath just to stay alive. So here we see Alpha Sage heading down the same pathway, but her condition isn't as severe just yet. While trying to bring back Reyna, she's taken to this realm where she sees herself covered in crystals, a glimpse at what will happen if she pushes herself too far. Suddenly though, she hears this voice, which is likely to be our new agent. This is our first instance of hearing his voice, and even off this alone we assumed he would be Croatian. That's actually since been more or less confirmed, but I'll get to that later. From a lore perspective, it seems like this agent will be introduced to us as he somehow guides Sage with her powers, which would line up with what appears to be a more supportive kid in game. In this same cinematic, there were also these 3 frames, which I believe are technically our first look at him. There isn't too much that I can actually make out of these, but I said I'd cover everything, so here is that. The way we see these sound wave-like rings reverberate around and eventually free the crystallized Sage here, make me wonder if this ability could even go as far as being a cleanse. I'm not sure if that would be too broken in Valorant, but essentially I'm imagining a veto ult that you can retroactively apply to your teammate to cleanse any debuffs they had. Maybe that's like a fade ult decay or a slow, anything of that sort. That is definitely diving a little too much into the theory side of things though, so we'll move on from this, but let me know what you guys think. With Master Santiago starting in just a few days, the promo for this event is in full swing, and in a lot of the promotional material, the sound motifs are very present. Like literally, if you go look at the esports page, any of their accounts, any post with an image to do with this tournament likely has some sort of sound wave in the background, and just look at the caption of this trailer, which I'll talk about shortly. The hints aren't exactly subtle. Even the trophy is a teaser for our new agent. We've seen this pretty consistently in the past with just a few examples there. Although it's interesting this time there is a bit of green even though this is a Masters trophy. That logo you can see in the center there does match this icon on the player card teaser. Finally, just yesterday we got this cinematic for Master Santiago. One really interesting segment is the stylized version of this crazy play PaperX did at Masters Toronto. What stood out most to me were these rings appearing from around the raid satchel. Now again, this could just be to tie in the new agent's theme with this cool esports play, and maybe it's as simple as that, but I can't help but wonder if this is more of a hint towards this agent literally amplifying teammates' abilities in some way, shape or form. I don't know what direction that could be in, as in what stats of the ability this would actually buff, but it's fun to think about. On top of that, at the very end of this trailer, we see Clove and Killjoy tracking down our new agents. These coordinates lead to a place in Croatia, and the short that Valorant posted for this moment was titled Radiant Detected, confirming that this agent will be a Radiant. This garage itself almost certainly belongs to the new agent too, as some of these logos are present on their player card, while this logo could be for one of their abilities. I do find it a little random that we're going into a garage here. So far it almost felt like this agent was going to be quite mystical to me, whereas now especially this icon instead reminds me of like Razor's Spoombot, but I guess we'll learn more over the coming weeks. The last thing I wanted to mention, since it might not even be related, I just thought it was funny. Right after Vito was introduced to the protocol, Viper sent this email to Brimstone complaining about how many buff guys have been added to the roster. Now we seem to be getting a male agent with healing abilities, and if I had to guess, he'll be built like Gecko, but like I said before, we'll see when he's revealed at the grand finals of Master Santiago.